Hello everyone, my name is Zairea H ECE, and for my presentation, Early Moves to Lifelong Success, I will be discussing how and why it is important to acknowledge and work on improving infants and toddlers' development. In this presentation, we will work to understand why early development is so important. An overview will be given for perceptual, motor, and physical development, ages birth to 36 months. A key question to keep in mind through this presentation is how does early experiences shape a child's lifelong growth? Research has shown that early experiences affect the brain structure and function influences behavioral, learning, and social emotional development. To start, I will give definitions to be sure that there is an understanding of different forms of development. Perceptual development. This refers to how children learn to interpret and understand sensory information, such as sight, sound, touch, in order for them to make sense of their surroundings. An example can be when an infant uses perception to distinguish features of the environment such as height, color, and depth. The importance of this is that it allows them to adapt and interact with their environment through using their senses. For motor development, this focuses on the development of movement skills, including both gross motor, which focuses on large muscle movements like walking, running, and jumping, and fine motor skills that moves small muscles like grasping and writing. Some examples are throwing, jumping, kicking, which are gross motor activities, while hammering, cutting, and lacing are fine motor activities. The importance of this is that it is crucial for children to explore their environment and participate in activities and develop their independence. For physical development, it encompasses the growth of the body and brain, including the changes in body size, muscle strength, balance, and coordination. Physical development includes changes in body size, muscle strength, balance, coordination, and sensory development. The importance of this is that it is the foundation for all children's overall well-being and their ability to learn and function in their environment. How reflexive movements progress into purposeful movements. Reflexive movements are automatic involuntary responses to stimuli controlled by the brainstem and the spinal cord. They are essential for survival and development in early life months of. The rooting reflex is present at birth, approximately 28 weeks of gestation, and lasts about 4 to 6 months until the frontal lobe of the cerebral cortex develops and suppresses the primitive motor reflexes. The rooting reflex is for feeding and it is involuntary, but it is crucial for survival. As infants mature, they learn to control these movements and perform them purposefully, like intentionally grasping objects instead of relying on the grasp reflex. Examples of reflexes are like the rooting reflex. When the corner of a baby's mouth is touched, they turn their head and open their mouth, helping them find food. The moral reflex is a response to a sudden movement or a loud noise where a baby throws back their head, extends their arms and legs, and cries, then pulls them back in. The grasp reflex is if you stroke the palm of a baby's hand, it causes them to grasp tightly. And the stepping reflex is when a baby's feet is touched on the surface, they may lift their feet as if they are about to walk. The importance of early exploration and sensory interactions. Sensory experiences are early exploration and sensory interactions, which are crucial for brain development and learning. With sensory play, it promotes cognitive and physical development, enhancing motor skills and build social skills by encouraging children to explore and engage with their environment. Brain pathway development happens when sensory experiences and develops strong brain pathways, which overall helps support learning and development throughout life. Examples can be the rooting reflex, which helps newborns find their mother's breast for feeding but disappears as they learn to control head movements voluntarily. And around 3 to 4 months, infants began to intentionally grasp objects rather than reflexive grabbing. Gross and fine motor development. Gross motor skills involve large movements, which are some things like crawling, walking, or running. Fine motor skills are small movements like grasping, pinching, hand-eye coordination. Examples of developmental milestones by age can be tummy time, which strengthens neck muscles, which helps infants lift their heads and later supports crawling and walking. Around 9 to 12 months, infants using the pincer grab, which is with their thumb and forefinger to pick up small objects. It is a critical fine motor skill for self-feeding. Sensory and motor integration. Infants rely on sensory feedback to adjust movements as they interact with their environment. Sensory input from touch, sight, and sound help infants develop motor skills. Their brain processes sensory information to refine coordination and control. It also has an effect on the way a baby or a child's nervous system receives inputs from these senses and and then forms an appropriate motor or behavioral response. Also, babies who play with different textures like soft fabrics, rough sponges, they can develop better tactile discrimination, helping aid them with more fine motor control. For example, reaching for a moving object requires them to use visual tracking, depth perception, and hand-eye coordination, all which are gained through sensory experiences. Overall, a baby explores and discovers the world through their senses. Babies are born with the most of their senses nearly and fully developed, but some subtle changes happen through the end of the child's second year. Some examples are reaching for an object. When infants track and reach for an object, they develop depth perception and spatial awareness, which is critical for later motor planning. Tactile exploration. Babies who engage with various textures like soft fabric, rough sponges, or smooth plastics enhance their tactile sensitivity, which strengthens fine motor control and dexterity. Auditory feedback and motor learning. Listening to rhythmic sounds such as clapping or music helps infants time their movements, aiding in coordination and responses to external stimuli. The importance of a safe, engaging, and stimulating environment is crucial for a child's development, as it fosters growth in motor skills, cognitive abilities, and social emotional skills. A safe environment is crucial, with it being free from hazards and allowing children to explore and learn without fear. A stimulating environment provides a variety of experiences that encourage exploration, learning, and development. And an engaging environment for children allows them to actively participate in their own learning. How play areas, interactive toys, and caregiver interactions support child's growth. Play areas. They should be designed to encourage different types of play, including gross motor activities like running and climbing, fine motor activities like building with blocks, or imaginative play. Interactive toys. The toys should encourage interaction, problem solving, and creating creativity, which are vital for cognitive and social emotional development. Caregiver interactions. Responsive and supportive caregiver play a crucial role in a child's development, providing guidance, encouragement, and opportunities for learning and social interaction. Examples of how these elements support growth. For infants, access to the age-appropriate toys that encourage grasping, shaking, and stacking, like soft blocks, rattles, or stacking cups, helps strengthen hand-eye coordination and their fine motor skills. Toddlers, them having outdoor play supports growth motor skills like running and jumping, while also enhancing sensory experiences through the exposure of the different textures from the environment. Preschoolers, having pretend play with dolls, play kitchens, or building blocks foster creativity, language skills, and social skills. Caregivers' interactions like reading aloud, sing-alongs, and engaging in interactive games help develop language skills, literacy, and social-emotional development. Examples of ideal developmentally appropriate settings. Safe and organized. A well-organized environment with age-appropriate furniture and materials free from clutter and hazard. Having a variety of materials, a wide range of toys and materials that cater to the different developmental areas, including blocks, puzzles, and art supplies and books. Outdoor space. Access to the outdoor space for physical activity, exploration, and sensory experiences. Responsive caregivers. Caregivers who are attentive, supportive, and responsive to children. Opportunities for social interaction. Children having spaces and activities that encourage social interaction and collaboration among them. How early movement shapes brain development. The relationship between motor experiences and brain growth. Neural connections strengthened by movement. An example can be how crawling can build coordination and cognitive skills, as well as babies who engage in more movement-based play, like reaching or climbing. They develop stronger connections in the brain's motor and spatial awareness centers. Strategies for supporting development can be encouraging movement, having things like tummy time, reaching activities, or balance challenges, engaging in play experiences, sensory bins, stacking blocks, or finger painting, having interactive adult-child interactions from talking, singing, or mirroring movements. Some good examples can be with parents when they support motor development at home. They can encourage crawling through obstacle courses using pillows and tunnels. Another example can be singing action songs like If You're Happy and You Know It, which can help improve coordination and a child's rhythm. For infants birth to 12 months, you can promote movement by providing daily tummy time for infants under 6 months of age. This can help with a child's total development and encourage movement. Once your infant learns how to scoot, crawl, or walk, allow them to freely explore both indoors and outdoors under your watchful eye. You can encourage movement experiences and active play for short periods several times a day, providing the child with an uncluttered play space, making sure that the area is safe and free from foot traffic, unsafe objects, or other hazards. It is also useful to set aside time for your infant to interact with you and the environment. Some key milestones for different age ranges. 0 to 6 months, reflexive movements, beginning head control. 6 to 12 months, sitting, crawling, early standing. 12 to 24 months, walking, climbing, improved coordination. And 24 to 36 months. The child should be able to run, jump, and fine motor control. It's also important to be able to identify delays and when to seek intervention. Examples can be that if an infant is not sitting independently by 9 months, caregivers should consult a pediatrician, or by 24 months, toddlers should be able to walk steadily. Delays could indicate a need for early intervention. conclusions and what could be the key takeaways from this presentation. Some key points are that early experiences shape motor, sensory, and cognitive development. Motor skills develop a sequence from reflexive to voluntary control. Sensory integration is essential for coordination and learning. The child's environment plays a significant role in fostering healthy development, and caregivers can use research-based strategies to support their growth. This is a very important matter because understanding these aspects helps educators and caregivers create a developmentally appropriate learning environment. Early interventions can prevent developmental delays and promote lifelong success for children. A final takeaway can be that by fostering a nurturing and stimulating environment, we can positively impact a child's growth, setting a foundation for physical, cognitive, and emotional well-being. Educators and caregivers should be proactive in supporting an early development to ensure the child meets their full potential.